Last time we ended on a warning. Playing every side eventually forces a moment where neutrality stops being an option. So if you can't stay hidden behind the fence forever, how do you make sure you're strong enough to survive being seen? Law 25, mirror their desires, then lead them elsewhere. This law is persuasion at its most surgical, and it's a modern extrapolation rather than a direct Machiavelli argument. Reflecting someone's ambitions, fears, or values back at them builds instant trust, and trust built that quickly is trust that can be redirected. The mirror isn't dishonesty in the crude sense. It's strategic alignment, appearing to walk beside someone right up until the point where your path quietly diverges from theirs, usually somewhere they don't notice until it's already happened. Redirecting someone that smoothly requires total composure, which is exactly what the next law demands, even when composure is the hardest thing in the world to maintain. Law 26. Bury emotion. Under strategy. Emotion and strategy can coexist, but the moment emotion leads and strategy follows, the outcome usually suffers. This one has a real anchor in Machiavelli's writing on virtue, the disciplined skill a ruler uses to bend circumstance to his will rather than being swept along by it. Feelings, anger, insecurity, even affection have to be processed privately and set beneath the calculated decision, not layered on top of it. This isn't the same as having no feelings. It's refusing to let feelings make decisions that logic should be making instead. The people who are hardest to outmaneuver are the ones whose emotional state gives away nothing about their next move. Burying emotion protects your decisions. But some of the best decisions in Machiavelli's world were never made through direct confrontation at all. Law 27. Win with spies, not swords. Information wins wars before they're ever fought. This one is more Sun Tzu than Machiavelli, whose actual military writing pushed the opposite direction. He argued a ruler should rely on his own citizen army rather than hired or borrowed forces, because troops you don't control are troops that can be turned against you. Still, the underlying instinct fits the spirit of both. Direct confrontation is expensive, risky, and public, while quiet information gathering, knowing an opponent's plans before they act on them, achieves the same result with a fraction of the exposure. A well-placed piece of intelligence is worth more than an army because it lets you prepare for a fight. Your opponent doesn't even know is coming. Information tells you where the danger is, but it also tells you exactly how to avoid ever standing fully on one side of it. Law 28. Play both sides, but show loyalty to neither. Worth pausing on this one, because it's the clearest place this series parts ways with what Machiavelli actually wrote. In The Prince, he argued directly against neutrality. A ruler who refuses to commit to either side in a conflict ends up despised by the winner and abandoned by the loser, gaining nothing from either. His advice was the opposite of this law. Commit decisively, because a bold ally is valued even in defeat, while a neutral party is trusted by no one. So, take Law 28 as the popular strategy content version, quietly maintaining usefulness to multiple sides without ever being seen as fully belonging to any of them, rather than anything Machiavelli endorsed. It's a difficult position to hold with any integrity, and it carries a real tension with Law 13. The same neutrality that protects you here is exactly what makes it hard to build the deep dependence described back there, since a person who trusts no faction fully is rarely trusted fully in return. Law 29. Infect the strong with small weaknesses. The answer starts here, and it's not about hiding it all, it's about undermining before the confrontation ever happens. A strong opponent rarely falls to a single blow. They erode, slowly, through small comforts, small indulgences, small dependencies introduced so gradually that the person never notices their own foundation weakening. It's worth being direct about the history here. The Medici family did build their grip on Florence through decades of patronage, favors, and calculated generosity that made rivals quietly dependent on Medici goodwill. That part is well documented. But the specific framing of this as a deliberate law of erosion, a strategy of implanting small weaknesses on purpose, is a modern read applied to that history rather than something Machiavelli or the Medici themselves described as their method. A little flattery here, a little convenience there, a taste for ease that wasn't present before. None of it looks like an attack. That's exactly why it works. Law 30. Be many things, but never fully known. This one pushes Law 17's point about appearance over substance further into unpredictability. Machiavelli did believe a ruler's true intentions should stay guarded. That's real, and it's captured in his fox and lion imagery. What's not directly his is the specific idea here, deliberately holding contradictory traits at once so no single label sticks. That's a modern extension of his guardedness principle, not a claim he actually made. Being fully understood is a vulnerability, because a person who is completely known can be completely predicted, and a person who can be predicted can be controlled. People will still build a story about who you are. Let them. As long as the story stays incomplete, nobody's entirely sure what you'll do next. Law 31. Seduce with dreams, not reality. People don't follow facts. They follow the version of the future that makes them feel something. To be clear about the source, Machiavelli was interested in how rulers manage perception. But the specific claim here, that a compelling vision moves people further than accurate information, is a modern persuasion concept, not a line from his text. This isn't simple deception. It's understanding that hope is one of the most persuasive forces available, and the person who controls the dream someone's chasing controls the direction they're walking in. Reality can be managed later. The dream is what gets people moving in the first place. Law 32. Mirror your enemy's ego. Every strong ego has a blind spot, the belief that it deserves recognition. Worth noting the irony here, Machiavelli actually warned rulers to keep flatterers away from themselves, precisely because flattery blinds the person receiving it. Using that same mechanism on an opponent is a logical extension of his warning, not something he wrote about directly, but it follows from the same insight. Reflecting someone's self-image back at them, feeding the version of themselves they most want to believe in, makes them remarkably easy to guide. A proud opponent flattered in exactly the right way will often reveal their plans, lower their guard, or make decisions based on vanity rather than strategy. Managing someone else's ego is powerful, but eventually you need people to trust your judgment even when they can't verify it, and flattery alone can't buy that. What buys it is reputation. Law 33. Build your reputation like a fortress. A strong reputation does the defending for you before a single conflict starts. This is one of the more accurately grounded laws in this set. Machiavelli argued directly that how a ruler is perceived often matters more than what he's actually done, because most people act on reputation, not investigation. Lorenzo de' Medici understood this well. Much of his real power in Florence rested less on formal office, which he barely held, than on a reputation so dominant that few dared test it directly. A reputation built carefully, consistently, and defended the moment it's threatened becomes a kind of armor, deterring challenges that might otherwise have been attempted. The mistake most people make is treating reputation as something that maintains itself. It doesn't. It has to be reinforced constantly, the same way any fortress needs its walls checked, or it starts crumbling from angles nobody was watching. A fortress like that needs very little talking to hold up, though, which is exactly the next law's entire point. Law 34. Make others talk. While you say nothing, silence is one of the most underused tools in any negotiation. To be upfront about it, this isn't a specific Machiavelli argument at all. It's general strategic wisdom that happens to fit comfortably alongside his broader suspicion of people who reveal too much of themselves. The person who speaks least in a room often learns the most because everyone else is busy revealing their position, their anxieties, and their next move through conversation alone. Saying little forces others to fill the silence, and what they fill it with usually tells you everything you need to know. This isn't passivity. It's patience weaponized, letting other people expose themselves while you give away nothing in return. Law 35. Rewrite the rules, then obey them publicly. The most stable form of power isn't breaking the rules. It's writing new ones and then following them visibly, so the new order looks legitimate rather than imposed. Augustus mastered this more completely than almost anyone in history, dismantling the Roman Republic's actual power structure while carefully preserving its titles, its senate, and its rituals, ruling as an emperor while publicly performing the role of a mere citizen. That history checks out, And Machiavelli, particularly in his discourses on Livy, wrote at length about exactly this kind of transition, how people accept structure far more easily when the person holding power appears bound by the same structure everyone else is. Quiet authorship of the rules, followed by public compliance with them, creates the appearance of fairness while still keeping the actual advantage exactly where it started. Rules like that only hold if you can see problems coming before they arrive. Which brings us to a law about exactly that kind of foresight. Law 36. Predict their moves before they move. Machiavelli believed that most people are far more predictable than they think, because human behavior tends to follow patterns of self-interest, fear, and ambition that repeat endlessly across different people and situations. This is one of the more genuinely Machiavellian ideas in this set. His histories and discourses are built on the assumption that studying past political behavior lets you anticipate future behavior, because people rarely change what actually drives them. Studying someone's past decisions, their pressure points, and their incentives lets you anticipate their next move with unsettling accuracy. This isn't mysticism. It's pattern recognition applied ruthlessly, and the people who master it always seem to be one step ahead, not because they're psychic, but because they've simply done the homework everyone else skipped. Predicting people is useful, but it also reveals something uncomfortable. The people you can predict most easily aren't always the ones worth keeping closest. That quiet, patient kind of influence is exactly where the next set of laws pushes further. Once you've mastered getting people to agree with you without a fight, the real question becomes how far that kind of control can actually be pushed before it turns into something people can't come back from. That's part 4.